Okay, good morning, grade 12. This is your Zoom IT lesson. Today is the 6th of May, and we are going to continue working with SQL and databases. So today's section is going to be Unit 4.7, Database Applications. I'm still working from the DBE textbook, so you can look through that in your own time. But this PowerPoint is based on that textbook. Okay, so we are going to work with the Music Searcher app. I have uploaded, this is another database. So far you've had the movies database, the carnivores database, and this one is going to be a music database. So when creating an application that uses SQL, you should not expect your users to be able to write SQL queries. So you do not want the users to have to know SQL, okay? They are simply going to go onto your program, onto the form, and fill in specific information. And then in the background, you have written SQL statements for them that will then go and do the various queries. So instead, you should create applications that automatically build the SQL queries based on the input from your application's components. In this unit, you will create an application that builds these queries automatically using data entered in components. So basically, you will have a form with various edit boxes, and the user is going to enter information into those and then click on various buttons to process this data. For this application, the user interface, database, and database connection has already been created for you. Your task is to build the SQL queries. So you need to open the project in the Music Searcher folder to enter the example code and complete activity 2.4.27. Okay, I've activated the chat if any of you have a question. Okay, so this is what the database is going to look like, your SQL, your Delphi program. I have a DB grid here, okay, this has been created in Access, and I have my different fields, ID, artist, album, song, etc. Over here, I have used various fields. Now, what I would suggest in your PAT is actually use DB edits instead of the plain edits here, because then what it does is actually links directly into your DB grid, where if it isn't, you need to program your edits to write back into your DB grid. Okay, so we have different fields here. So if the user clicks, types in the artist, and they are looking for, I'm probably going to give my age away or something, but let's say Snoop Dogg or someone like that, they're going to enter the artist's name over here, and they will click on search artist. Okay, or they will know a specific song, and they will enter the name of the song and click search song. And then what it will do, it's going to display here at the bottom. Also, I can do specific queries here. So I remember a song when I matriculated, okay? There was a song that was written for the matrics of that year, and it was called Butterfly Kisses. It was a song that a father wrote for their child. And so I could use this part of my program to say the year and what it is equal to, and then the user will enter which year the song was written in. Okay, so the user interface is shown below or next to. As the image shows, the user interface contains a grid. We call this the DB grid, with a lot of information about different songs from a music table. So the information that's going to be displayed here comes from TBL Music. At the bottom of the user interface, you can perform different searches. Okay. So let's continue. So 4.2.27.1, we are going to be working here. The user must enter an artist name in the artist edit box. When the button Search Artist is clicked, the SQL query should return all records for the artist entered. So my SQL query is a string in Delphi code. So I would use the SQL code that is select star from music, or if it was, depending on how it was named, TBL music. So in your Access database, remember the way that the name you saved it in Access is what you're going to have to refer. You can't use music in Access and then in SQL suddenly say TBL music. It has to be exactly the same name. So try get into the habit of naming, even in Access, your fields correctly so that it is easier to code in Delphi. So select star from music with the artist. Now, here is a very, very important thing. You see it goes double quote, single quote, plus my variable, plus single quote, double quote. Okay, I think there's one too many quotes there. My keyboard entered some extra quotes. So the double quotation marks around S artist. This ensures that the value entered is inserted in the SQL statement as a string. Okay, so remember, Access, so let's backtrack. SQL Delphi, when it wants to display a string, it is in single quotes. Access and SQL, when they want to display a string, they write it in double quotes. So you will need to write your Delphi part inside the SQL part. Okay. So is inserted in the SQL statement as a string so that the test artist some value won't give a data type mismatch error. Double quotation marks are not required if the field in the condition is not a string. So if this was a value that I was working with, then I wouldn't have to have double quote, single quote, variable, single quote, double quote. Okay. Double quotation marks are not required if the field in the condition is not a string. For date tests, we use the hash symbol. So between, before and after each date, I will have hash 2020/05/06 hash. Okay. So if the user enters casual, okay, and click search artist output, it's going to look at like this. So the code, when I am busy coding this section, now we've given you the very basic, let me go back one slide. That is your SQL statement, like we've been working up to now. You simply just wrote select star from music, etc. But now once you are coding it inside Delphi, you need to add a few more things. So let's take a look at that. You will declare your SQL query. You're going to declare your artist. Whatever is written in my edit box, I want to be written to S artist. And then here, do you see now I'm going to declare what must be written to my SQL query. I'm going to take my SQL statement. So select star from music, where artist, okay, and there S artist. But do you see here, there is a single quote in the front of the select and another, it's supposed to be single quote at the end. Okay. Then to display there, I'm displaying in a label. Okay. So LBL square query dot caption assign. So whatever was written from here into my SQL query, I'm now just going to write there. So the reason we do this is back to grade 10, why we use variables, because if we didn't use variables, our code would be pages and pages long. So we rather use variables to shorten the code and that it's easier to code in the long run. Okay. Then DMO music, we just use DM. Okay, remember DM stands for data module. So you would have created a data module that is going to connect your ADO connection with your database, your ADO table, and you would have set that up as an additional unit. So link your data module .querymusic.sql.text. Okay, that's quite a long Delphi statement that you've got there. So I first go and read it from my data module. What am I reading? I'm reading my query music. What part? The SQL. And what part of the SQL? Specifically the text, that section. Okay. And everything that came from SQL query is going to be written into my data module. So this is the part where you're going to write into your DB grid. Okay, and then very, very important, don't forget this line. Otherwise, you've written it, but it's not going to display. You need to activate it so that it will update your DB grid. So DMO music.query music.active, and you set it to true. Okay, so this is a very, very important step. If you don't use this step, your database is not, it would have written to it, but is not going to update it. Okay, everyone still okay here? Great. Let's get on to the next slide. So when the button search album, so this now I'm going to the next button, is clicked, a SQL query is needed to search, let me just move this slightly down. An SQL query is needed to search for any album containing the word entered. So say for example the word love. I want to display all the albums that contain the word love. So let salbum be the variable to hold the user input. So there's salbum. Remember the like operator and your wildcards, okay? Because if I don't use those, it is going to only find an album love. But I'm looking for any album containing the word love. Okay, so let's see how we are going to do that. Again, declare your SQL query and your album variables. You will, everything the user writes into my edit album must be assigned to salbum. Then, as we've seen before, here is your SQL statement. Select star from music where album like wildcard plus salbum plus wildcard. Okay, so whatever is entered into salbum, whether it be love, whether it be, let's think, music, or any word that is, or any string that is entered in there. Remember, it can be numbers and characters and letters. That's why it has to be a string. Then I'm going to display it over here. Okay. LBL's SQL query.caption, and whatever was written in my SQL will be written, assigned to SQL query. Then I'm going to take that same SQL query and write it into my data module. So DMO music.query music, what am I looking for? The SQL. What part of the SQL? Specifically, my text. Then, to make sure, once I've entered my information, I want to display it. So I will click on music.active assign true. Okay, so let's see if I can quickly get my, where's my Delphi? Over here. Okay, I'm going to see if I've got a one in runtime. Let's say program reset. Okay, so here's my program. As you can see here, here's my DB grid. Here are my different fields where the user is going to enter information, and I've simply used buttons here. Okay, so I'm going to run it here, and we're going to wait a second or so. There is, so the user is going to see this this program. They're not going to see the back end of it. So we are looking for an album called Love. And simply what they're going to do is they're going to click on Search Album. And as you can see here, if I scroll through, there's Love, Peace, and Nappiness, I Will Love Again, Aces of Love, and every single album that comes out here will contain the word love. Okay, so there is my SQL statement. Select star from music where album like wildcard love wildcard. Okay, but remember it needs to be written into your Delphi code, not just plain SQL. Okay, so let's take a look at the next part. When the button search number is clicked, a SQL query must be built that includes the field selected. Okay, so here's the number field. The relation operator selected and the value entered in the edit. So here I've got two criteria. I've got a year, and my second criteria is going to be a specific date. So let S field, S symbol, and S value hold the data entered by the user, then the SQL statements will be. So if I was just asking you a simple SQL statement, it would be select star from music where year equals 2010. But now I want to write it into my program. So let's just quickly look at this section. The wildcard characters in Delphi are the percentage symbol, okay, for zeros to many characters, and okay, so percentage symbol for 0 to many characters. The underscore symbol if I only have a single character. So if I want one single character, I'm going to use the underscore, but if I want to have more than one, then I'm going to use the percentage sign. Okay, so over here, the user is now going to select the number field that they want to look at. They are looking at the year, so this column over here. And what it says there is, I want it equal to 2010. Now here, this, you would have used a combo box or a list box, okay? Now you can make it equal to, greater than, smaller than, greater and equal to, smaller and equal to, and also not. So I can display all the music that was not produced in 2010. Okay, but now we just want to find out from the year field all the songs that were produced in 2010. So let's look at our Delphi code. Okay, this goes actually underneath each other, but my page was too small to display it underneath each other. So I start variable, declare my SQL query. Then, as I've said in the previous one, I wanted an S field, S symbol, and S value. And here, we're going to use a case statement. So how do I write my case statement? So here's a bit of grade 10 revision for you. Make sure you know how to do your case statements. CBX field dot item index of, then I'm going to have 5 fields. Remember, case statements and radio groups all start counting from 0. So the first field, 0, S field is going to be year. Then 1 is going to be S field, will be duration. 2, S field is going to be popularity. 3, S field is loudness. 4, S field, beats per minute. So that is my first case statement. Always remember that a case statement has an end but no beginning. Then straight underneath that, I've got a second case statement. Okay, because here, so let's quickly backtrack and look at our, so there was my first case statement, which I defined whether it was year, duration, popularity, loudness, or beats. Okay, my second statement is going to be, or case statement is going to be equal to, greater than, smaller than. Okay, so 0 will be equal to, 1 would be greater than, 2 will be smaller than. Okay, again, look at the angles. So greater than will be to the left, smaller than is going to be to the right. Okay, so that now you've defined your case statements, your two fields. So they, instead of using a combo box, they used a case statement there. So now the third field that we have, that's where the user is going to enter in, is going to be written to S value. Now you're going to assign that information into an SQL statement. So select star from music where my S field plus S symbol plus S value. Okay, there is a single quote missing. Okay, no, because these are fields. So my single quotes are before the select and the where, and these are all variables that I'm using. This is then going to be written into my label, my SQL label. And then I want to so I don't just want to display it, I want to update my database to display it properly. So you will take that information, write it into your data module query music.sql.text, and don't forget to activate your data module so that it will update and display the correct information. Okay, so let's quickly go into our program here. So over here, I'm going to say, do you see here, there are lots of different years all over, okay? So I'm going to say, I want the year and I want to be 2010. And we're going to say search. So as you can see, only 2010 music is displayed throughout. Okay, and a very simple SQL statement, select star from music where year equals 2010. Now here, I could actually choose a different field. Let's see if I went for beats per minute. Okay, and I'm going to use greater than, and let's say 80. I want it, I'm quite in like a slow mood, so I want something that's a bit greater than 80 beats per minute, and I want to click on search the number, and as you can see here in this column, all of these will be greater than 80. So it doesn't matter, because of the way that you had using the case statements, it doesn't matter what I'm searching here. If I want duration, okay, let's try the duration one. I want songs greater, or let's say less than, let's say about 350. Let's search it. And here you will see all of these are going to be less than 350. Now this will be based on seconds, 350 seconds. Okay. So that is quite a nice thing. And you don't have to go and write a Delphi code for every single one. Using these case statements, you can actually combine your code into one, and it's a more efficient way of coding. Okay. Okay, so here are a couple of activities that you are going to work through. I have uploaded the data for you. You can just download. Remember, I zipped the folder so that it's easier for you to be able to download. Okay, so 4.28.1, provide code for the search song and search genre buttons to complete the music searcher app. So you are going to, let's just quickly look at our app again. So these two, we've done artist and album. I want you now to go and code the song, search song, and search genre. Okay. Then provide the code for search all button. Here is my search all button. In the search all button, create a query that always searches for all fields using the AND operator. Remember yesterday we did join? and join and. So go and revise yesterday's lesson to help you with this part of the question. Place each of the values from the text boxes into the search query. If the text box does not contain a value, remember null, replace this value with a wildcard character that will match all records. So remember, if it's a single character, underscore. If it's 0 to many, I'm going to use the percentage sign. So once you've done that, congratulations, you have just created an application that allows users to search through thousands of songs with the click of a button. So think of your pack now, okay? If you have various dates or you've got a conference or something and your PAT has different conferences, so the user will be able to search through different conferences at specific dates, okay? Or if you've got an event and they're looking to book for a hotel, okay? So you can use this SQL statement to go and search now. I want to book 2 rooms from let's say the 8th of May to the 10th of May. Okay, so this is where you can start applying this into your PATs. Remember, every Friday, whatever we've learned during the week, I want you to go and write into your PAT. Okay, the second activity, using the data from components, okay. Open the application saved in your Cities of South Africa folder. Create the following events for this application. 4.229.1, an event to insert new cities to your cities table. Okay. To update the population of the provinces. To delete all cities meetings. Please remember, where with update and delete, make a backup of your database before the time. Because as soon as you start working with deletes and updates and inserts, you are going to change your database, okay? It's not like the others that we're just searching for certain information. This is actually going to change your database. So if you don't want to lose any of your records, make sure that you have a backup and an original set of data. Using this application, complete the following tasks. You're going to add a city, so you can call it whatever you want. Update the population of Gauteng to this amount. And you are going to delete the city with the ID 6800. Okay. And then the third activity, don't worry guys, this is not all for tomorrow. I'm giving you a couple days to work through it. Our time's busy running out. The last one, this is your consolidation activity. You are to complete question 1, the whole of question 1 and the whole of question 2. I have displayed it. It is also in your DBE textbook if you want to look at it through there. Okay, guys, have a wonderful day. We will chat soon, and I hope you are all doing well. Okay, bye-bye, guys. Thanks so much. I will chat to you tomorrow again. Bye-bye.